Adam, thank you so much for coming to be with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Morning, Donnie. Everything okay?
No, not really. My kid needs braces on her teeth. My car needs a transmission job. My wife wants me to take her to Florida, but I'm behind on the mortgage payments. My uncle called from India and he needs money for my niece's wedding, and I got this strange rash on my back. How about you?
I'm okay.
Ready to roll, Patterson?
Yeah. When you're a child, you learn there are 3 dimensions: height, width, and depth, like a shoebox. Then later you hear there's a 4th dimension: time.
Your poetry is really good, and someday you might let the world read it. Look me in the eye. You are a great poet.
Tell us about fitting this film in, because another little boutique micro-budget film came along, which has turned you into a global megastar. Yeah. How did this manage to come together during presumably what was quite a complicated process of promotional work?
I guess I just make time. I can't remember where it came in the schedule. It was like before or after Star Wars, but it was Jim. So I read the script as kind of a formality. I would have said yes to whatever, Colgate commercial he was directing. I would have been interested in doing it. So for something like that, you just kind of make time for those things.
Did you grow up watching? Because I know you talk about growing up watching videos of old Scorsese movies when you were at home in Indiana. And was Jarmusch a big person for you as well in those days?
Yeah. I can't remember the first one it was. I think maybe Down by Law or Dead Man. I can't remember the first one. I remember seeing, driving an hour and a half to the only art house cinema that was kind of in the area to see Coffee and Cigarettes, and leaving the theater not really understanding if I liked it or understood everything about it. I loved things about it, but I remember thinking about that movie for years, just different moments at different times. And I always enjoy his sense of humor and irony, and the way they look. And the people he surrounds himself with are always so good and unique at their jobs. It really is one of the best jobs I've ever worked on, in large part because of him and the environment he creates. I mean, I'm sure every actor says that. It's a very cliche thing to say, but it's very true on this one.
Had you ever crossed paths with him over the years? Was it a surprise when the script landed on your...
I haven't, no, yeah. I had met him before we met the first time at, a restaurant to talk about, would I be interested? But I was like, yeah, send it to me and I'll, flip the pages so you see I bent them, and then I'll say yes to it. Right.
You know Patterson, right?
Not really, but we've seen each other. Hey, Patterson.
Hey, Marie.
You drive the bus, right?
Yeah, I do.
Your name really Patterson, or they just nicknamed me that?
No, my real name is Patterson.
Well, that's kind of crazy, right?
Just to intervene, how did you find Patterson the place? Did you know anything about it before?
All through Jim. Even kind of my introduction through poetry was all through Jim. He kind of went there 10 years before this movie happened, and this was kind of always gestating in his mind of... He thought it was very funny and random that Paterson, New Jersey had all this rich history, with Alexander Hamilton and this, the silk trade being such a huge, important place in the beginnings of America, and all these migrants, Jewish migrants, and then all these seemingly famous people who kind of came from there. It seems like what's going on in Paterson, New Jersey? That's and even the place as it is now. There's this beautiful waterfall, as you see in the movie there, and kind of right next to old, warehouses that are, run down, that kind of, something dilapidated next to something, natural and beautiful was kind of interesting, he thought.
Another one. When you're a child, you learn there are 3 dimensions: height, width, and depth, like a shoebox. Then later you hear there's a 4th dimension: time. Then some say there can be 5, 6, 7. I knock off work, have a beer at the bar. I look down at the glass and feel glad.
So you learned how to drive that bus. Was that always going to be part of the job, or what, did you just decide to take that upon yourself?
Yeah, no, I decided to do it on my own. It seemed like we were trying to tell, you know, his physical life was very important, it seemed, where he has this very well-worn groove of, you know, a daily routine where he walks the same way to work and, you know, all the buttons and knobs and wheels. It's a kind of an afterthought at this point where everything's kind of, his lunchbox is in a certain hand, you know, the watch is on the same hand. I mean, that's not very unusual, but he's structured everything so it's allowed him to drift when it comes to him creating anything. When it comes to writing poetry, he can kind of drift away or observe things in a different way because that kind of where he's going, his body is kind of on autopilot. So trying to tell a story of that history in a short amount of time, since we're really shooting it over a course of 2 months, to kind of tell a story of someone who's been doing this for years. I didn't want to be thinking about you know, what the button does, or, you know, where's the handle, or worried about how to drive a bus. And hopefully it would open the filming up to maybe we can get different shots if I actually am driving it and not a stunt driver. So I just wanted to get it out of the way. So it's like a 3-month course in like New York, which is complicated at Parallel Park, you know, in Queens, and the bus driver or the instructor is very angry, you know, because he's like a school bus driver during the year, and I learned during the summer. So like most of his direction of how to drive the bus was how to avoid stupid kids, you know. He's always like, check behind the wheel because they're stupid kids. Hide behind the wheel, and they're stupid because they're ignorant. They haven't developed yet, you know. This is the blinker, kind of thing. So yeah, that's why I learned how to drive it.
Hello, darling.
Oh, honey.
I'm painting.
Hello, Marvin. I see that.
What do you think? Does it make everything more interesting?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
How was your day?
The usual.
Getting your writing done?
I did a little, yeah. Working on a poem for you.
A love poem?
Yeah, I guess if it's for you, it's a love poem. It's kind of inspired by our Ohio blue tip matches.
Really? Does it mention the little megaphone shape the letters make?
Yeah, actually it does.
How beautiful.
I was just wondering, because, well, obviously you're so naturally talented in connecting emotionally with
It's the nicest audience
different
ever.
characters. I was just wondering, have you ever thought of, apologies if you have, but have you ever thought of venturing into directing yourself?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, well, just because I don't think I'd be good at it, and I've like met really good directors, and I feel like it requires like you got to answer a lot of questions and be able to articulate what is not working about something and have like a visual storytelling, and I just don't think I see the world that way. I'm enamored of directors, and I'd love to, you know, hopefully continue to work with really great people. But for me, where I'm at in my life now, it doesn't interest me. Same with writers. I wish I could, you know, because you just write things for yourself. But maybe, but I think I just don't have the disposition. I don't think. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I go through trillions of molecules that move aside to make way for me, while on both sides, trillions more stay where they are.
A bus driver in Patterson. Aha. Aha, what? This very poetic.
Please, can you thank him for coming and
Thank
for
you.
everything? Yeah.